Welcome to the easiest game of my whole life. It's Fire Emblem 12, Lunatic-Reverse, 0% Growth, Chapter 18. We've got a bunch of support conversations, including 2 luck bonds, which will be put to good use later. We'll need to use the 2% crit rule in this map, so we're bringing George and Dolph as Draco Knights. Pala's still a Swordmaster, and Katarina will once again be abusing the Nosferatu tome with the help of a Goddess icon and our second speed bond. I used a Goddess icon here instead of a luck bond because she needs this extra luck for several additional chapters after this, and she'll need a luck bond on top of the Goddess icon later. We got a new unit named Frost in the cutscenes after Chapter 17. He brings us a new physics staff, which is good, but for our purposes, he's pretty useless with low stats and only a C rank in staves. I need to forge 1 might onto a Ridersbane, but it's mostly for next chapter. I checked the stats on these generals real quick, and I'll explain why in a bit. Getting into the chapter, we've got a huge pack of enemy cavalry barreling down on us from the north, but they'll retreat peacefully after Marth visits the village to the west, so that's our first objective. We'll set up a pretty simple wall against the paladins to the west with Katarina, Zane, and Pala, while Wendell works on his staff rank. Daros finds an arm scroll in his cave, which is shockingly unthreatened on turn 1. This game pretty much never gives away treasure that easily. Katarina has double exposure against the 2 upper paladins to the west, but the first one isn't smart enough to attack from the tile above her, so he blocks off his friend from reaching her. The first 2 paladins that move have silver lances, and this second one picks Zane over Pala since she's holding the star sphere, and Zane sadly can't quite get the kill due to weapon triangle. But the next 2 have axes, and only Pala is left as a target, so they're quickly laid to rest. This enemy bishop uses a fortify, but it's not going to save anybody. There are many different ways to kill the remaining paladins, but this method works well enough and shows why I picked Dolph. He has a C rank in lances to use the Ridersbane, and most of our other lance users have too much luck to soak ballista shots with a 2% crit rule. Sirius has low luck, but he's not bulky enough to survive the reversal mechanic. So weirdly enough, Dolph is the right man for the job. That's fun. Marth finds some sort of king in the village and obtains the life sphere, which heals the unit holding it for 20 HP at the start of every player phase. It's pretty amazing, we'll be getting a ton of value from it in the next couple chapters.
Giddy up.
Marth has some distance to cover to reunite with the rest of the army, but I need Fina to already be over here at the edge of enemy range when the next turn starts, so we can't send her to help Marth, we just have to wait and get some staff rank. The paladins continue retreating, but we don't need to watch all that.
Giddy up again.
Marth gave the life sphere to Dolph last turn, and it activates here for a big heal. It's such a good item. It's time to move against this bulwark of enemies. Pala and Zane will mostly be ignored in favor of Katarina, so they can get close safely and set up to do things next turn. The 2 tiles above Dolph are each covered by only one of the 2 ballistae, while being out of range of the generals and Draco Knights, making them the perfect spots to use the 2% crit rule. Minerva and Daros need to stay away from the generals because some of them have bows, but we want them close enough to act next turn. Marth drops a save because in order for Katarina to be in range of all the generals, she has to fight this Killer Lance general at 1 range, and obviously we can't take a crit from that guy. The 2% crit rule works as expected on Dolph and George, and now you get to see the ludicrous result of pumping so many stat boosters into Katarina. She is only able to double them because of the speed bond. Shoutouts to Cord. Otherwise, I would have had to take the speed wing in Chapter 16 and would have missed out on that large bullion. Also note that the Goddess icon was needed to avoid the 2% crit rule applying to Katarina, as the ballistae have 8 crit. There is only an 8% chance of a general rolling the higher value on both HP and resistance, in which case they will survive against Katarina with 1 HP. That's what I was checking in preparations. I wanted at least one of them to have that so we can see how to deal with it. The Draco Knights actually have the 2% crit rule in effect on Zane and Pala, but only one of them can reach, and it's just Zane. The enemy bishops annoy us with their fortify staves, but we don't even need to kill most of the stuff, so that's fine. Pala needed a head start so that she could reach this ballista blocking our path to the gate, which she obliterates with Mercurius. Zane gets us a vulnerary using the Armor Slayer, which is only just barely worth it. This Draco Knight blocking our path to the gate gets taken down by Parthia. Now I know what you're thinking, why not position Zane up north out of the way last turn? But the 2% crit rule is only active on Zane if a Draco Knight rolls its higher skill value, and they could still block you even if he is up north. I'd rather just pay the Parthia use, cover every possibility, and remove RNG completely. Wendell finally hits B-rank stabs, so from now until the end of the run, I'm only going to heal when I actually need to. It's a huge weight off my mind. Minerva and Daros team up to get us a new Recover Staff, and Katarina absolutely humiliates the boss, who doesn't even get his terrain bonus because she's got the Light Sphere. This is 0% growths! What the fuck are we doing? There's a lot of enemies left, but none of them drop any treasure, so Marth gets us out of here on turn 5. One turn faster than my Hard 3 run. Note that this wouldn't work on Vanilla Hard 3, even with a speed bond, because Katarina wouldn't have enough magic without the Spirit Dusts from the Armory. Hope you're ready for a show next time. I'll see you there, and thanks for watching.